Thank you very much indeed, and it's a great pleasure to be here. So this evening what I want to do is just to very quickly give you an insight into a couple of examples of where the energy services that we've been talking about this evening have actually been delivered into the market. So if you think about rural Africa, this is broadly what you're going to see. For half the population in Africa, there is no electricity, there is no sanitation, there is no water. In fact, there is only one universal utility in the world, and that is the mobile phone. Mobile phone technology has been around about 20 years. This kerosene lamp that Samuel is using here wouldn't have looked out of place in the Pharaohs. So we've got this really strange situation where people have access to some kinds of technology that is really modern, and yet some of the most basic stuff, people are still suffering with technology that really hasn't changed for millennia. Quite often people talk about this as a development problem, but actually I'm going to take a slightly contrarian view. I'm going to say this is a market failure. Why is it a market failure? Well, that lamp that Samuel had, light for light, cost him about 100 times as much as it costs us for that light up there. The poorest people in the world are not spending a few percent more for their energy. They're spending orders of magnitude more for their energy. And that's a market failure. And the great thing about market failures is that actually the market can do something about them. So this is an example solution. This is called PayGo Solar. Azuri is one of the companies doing that. There are about 40 companies in the world doing PayGo Solar. And what PayGo Solar does is to take this mobile phone network and use the mobile phone network to offset a number of the things that don't exist. The fact that a grid doesn't exist, the fact that transportation is difficult, billing systems are difficult, people find it difficult to pay, and so on. And so what it does is to combine mobile phone technology and solar power so that individuals can pay for their solar energy as they use it. So in the UK, if I want a solar system, I pay several £1,000s, put it on the roof of my house, and sometime over the next 12 years, I'll get a payback. If you're earning $3 or $4 a day, you don't have even the $50 that it would take to have a solar home system, despite the fact that actually it pays back very quickly. But providing solar technology as a service, where you put the equipment into the customer's house and then the customer pays you over a period of time, actually turns out to be an extremely successful model. And in fact, it's a model where we're beginning to see significant investment. There's been about $250 million invested in domestic PayGo solar companies in the last 12 months, and that number is increasing. So that enables new customers to get access to power. But it also enables new customers to get access to the devices that that power is actually driving. There's no point in giving somebody power for a TV if they can't afford the TV. What you've got to do is to provide the complete end-to-end service. And this is something that's beginning to catch the attention of one or two influential people and is beginning to be seen as a way of delivering not just energy, but delivering services to individuals at very high speed. If you think about building a power station and building out the grid, probably the planning process to go and do that is going to take you 5 years. In Ghana, we will roll out 100,000 households of pay-as-you-go energy in the next 10 months. The neat trick about this comes back to that disparity that I mentioned earlier on by how much people are paying for kerosene. It is possible to sell solar energy for less than people are currently spending on their kerosene for lighting. So there is nobody in the world who can't afford pay-as-you-go solar because they're already spending more than that money on the kerosene that they're currently using. I think it's possibly the first example where solar power is way ahead in terms of cost effectiveness against the competing technologies. But actually, we need to be a little bit careful here, because It's not sufficient to go to somebody and say, right, pat you on the head in a slightly patronizing way, have this solar light, we've given you power. Individuals in Africa have exactly the same aspirations as you or me. They want a television, they want a large house, they want a Ferrari. We need to be able to enable people as effectively as we can to get access to new technology. And so in the model that we're seeing in PayGo as it's coming along, we're starting off where people have a relatively small amount of power. Maybe it's enough to light a couple of rooms and charge a mobile phone. And what we find is that two things happen. Firstly, individuals save money because they're no longer spending money on kerosene. And the second thing is that their productivity goes up. On average, people extend their day by about 3 hours when they've got solar power. Imagine your day suddenly became 3 hours longer. Think of all the things that you would go and do in that time. And people's income increases, and as their income increases, so their aspirations increase, and so people go, you know what, I want to have a radio, and I want to have a television, and I want to have internet access, and I want to have a whole range of other goods and services. And so progressively, people step themselves from a position where essentially there is no infrastructure to a situation where people have many of the devices that you and I would recognize today. And in fact, we're just about getting to the point now where standalone power for rural communities is a genuine alternative to grid electricity. It costs about $1,000 to provide a mini-grid for an individual domestic household. For $1,000, I can provide the power and the TV and the radio and the internet access and the lighting and the fan. And you have to ask yourself, well, once you've got all of those things on a relatively low income, what else are you going to get from having mains electricity? Potentially, at some point in the future, you might be able to use that mains electricity for productive use. But actually, just in a domestic environment, pretty much you've got all that you really need. So the key thing is we need to be very careful what we measure. There's very little point in measuring the quantity of energy that goes into a particular country. If I put in a megajoule of energy, that's roughly enough to provide air conditioning to one household, TV to 50 households, or lighting to 500 households. Telling you that I put in a megajoule of energy tells you nothing about the impact of that energy. We need to measure the outcomes and the impact, not measure the energy itself. But the key thing in our view is that actually energy is an enabler, and the most important thing it enables is the knowledge economy. In our view, it is the knowledge economy which is going to enable continents like Africa to be able to develop much more rapidly than other societies have been able to develop. And actually, there are a number of demographics that are helping that. Something like 40% of the population of Africa is under the age of 14. I've never met a 14-year-old who can't use a smartphone. There is tremendous energy, there is tremendous appetite. And I'll leave you with this slide. These are a couple of guys in Uganda. As you can see, they've got mobile phones. Actually, look carefully. What they've got is mud mobile phones. The aspiration is there, the excitement is there, and what we need to do is to provide the services and the energy that drives those services that enables that aspiration to turn into reality. Thank you.